Hi everyone, welcome back to my Dev Web App channel. In today's video, I'm going to build a weather app in React from scratch. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a fully functional app deployed on GitHub Pages. We'll use some cool technologies like TanStack Query for data fetching and caching. Geolocation will be used to define the user's location. We'll style the app with a Tailwind CSS and we'll create custom hooks to manage the component state. Let's take a look at the design. As you can see, we'll have search bar, weather card, and forecast card. And let me refresh the page. And by default, it shows the weather for the user's location. And I can disable my location and reload the page. And as you can see, we have error and we don't have weather forecast because we denied geolocation, and I can provide city and press search, and it will show me weather for the city. And now I'm going to return my location and make it enabled, refresh the page, and provide city and press search. And let me open developer tools and network tab. And now I'm going to change city and press search. And as you can see, we have two requests, and requests were sent to OpenWeatherMap API, and we retrieved data for weather and forecast. And now I can change city and press search, and we have two more requests. And let me return city back. And this time we don't have additional requests, and that's because we use TanStack Query and use state or cache data depending on the time. So if you're excited to create this weather app from scratch, fire up your code editor and let's get started. I opened the Tailwind CSS docs and selected the latest version, and I'm going to follow all the steps that they provided. And the first step is to run command npm create Vite at latest. I launched my Visual Studio Code, have folder where I store my React projects, and I'm going to run new terminal and provide command npm create Vite at latest. And now I need to provide my project name, and it will be weather app tailwind, and select React and then JavaScript. Now I can navigate to my project folder with cd command, and as you can see, the command provided here. And the next step, I need to install dependencies with command npm install, and that command will install dependencies that we have in Vite, and we need to install additional dependencies for Tailwind CSS, and I'm going to copy this command and provide it in my terminal. And the next step, we need to init our Tailwind CSS, and I'm going to init it with that command. And as you can see, config files were created, and the next step is to configure your template path, and I need to change contact property in Tailwind config.js, and I'm going to open that file and change content property. Okay, and the next step is to add the Tailwind directives to your CSS, and we need to add them site source files in index.css. And I'm going to open source files and index.css and add this directive at the top. And let's check what we have next. And now we can run dev server with command npm run dev. Okay, and I'm going to launch the project and have some styles. Okay, and let's check what next. And the next we can provide some JSX to our app.jsx file, and let me hide this terminal, and I'm going to pass this code in my app.jsx, and also I can remove all imports and states, and let's check what we have. Okay, we have our files, and let me clean up this Vite styles for links and for buttons and h1 tag. And also I'm going to change place items to justify content, and also remove styles for buttons and a tag for links, and also I'm going to remove all the styles from app.css and accept the root element, and let's check what I have so far. Okay, we have our hello world at the top, and let's change title to weather app, and let me close all the styles, and now we can create custom hook to retrieve the geolocation data, and I need some folder for hooks, and inside this folder I'll create useGeolocation JavaScript. Okay, and now I can create function use geolocation. It will be arrow function, or just let's create just function, and I can export it as default. And inside function, I'm going to use useState hook and useEffect hook. Our useGeolocation will be custom hook. useState, as you can see, import was added, and I need some state for loading to check if the data was loaded or not, or loading. And the function to change the state will be set loading, and initial value will be true. And also I'm going to add more states for error, and set error, and initial value will be just, let it be some null. And now we can add state to our geolocation data, will be data and set data, and the initial state will be empty object. And now I can add use effect hook. As you can see, import was added, and I need to provide function to retrieve geolocation data, and I'm going to call it only component was mounted. It will be called initially one time, and let's implement the function, and I'm going to use navigator global JavaScript object, and inside this object we have another option, another object, geolocation, and in geolocation we have function get current position, and it will allow us to retrieve the coordinates, and as you can see, we need to provide success callback and error callback. We can provide some options, but I will not work with options here. So, and let's create some success callback and on error callback, and we'll create these functions, and first function will be on success, and get current position will call this function when we retrieved the coordinates, and we'll have some event inside, and I'm going to set loading to false because data was loaded, and set error to null because we don't have any error, and now we can set data to our event, and it will have coordinates inside it. And now we need to add code to the second callback on error, and also I'll have event inside, and I'll set error to this event. I'll pass this error into my component, and also we can set loading to false. Okay, we have our hook, and now we can go to app.jsx, and let's create some new component. I'm going to create folder components for my components, and inside folder we'll create weather.jsx file for my components, and now I can export default and create weather component, and I need function. Okay, and I need to fix it. Export default function will be weather, and now I can import my hook, custom hook, use geolocation, and as you can see, import was added, and now I can use my hook, use geolocation. I will not have any params to pass, and I can get my data, and inside hook use geolocation. We need to return data to retrieve it inside our component. I forget to return, and let's return loading, and also error and data. Okay, and now we can retrieve this data using object destructuring. We passed the data as object, and it will be loading error data. And data we can rename and use geodata. Okay, and let's build our JSX. We can check if we have loading, then we can return some notification about that data is loading. I'm going to add paragraph and add text loading. And let's add some classes. Class name, we added Tailwind, and we can use Tailwind classes, and I'm going to make text blue and make it 500, and also we can add these classes to change the font and make font semi-bold. Okay, and now I can change it to false to see this message and go to my weather, and inside app.jsx we need to import our weather component and provide it to our app component. Okay, and let's check again. I'm going to refresh it. Okay, and I need to leave it true, but I'm going to comment out these lines, and we will have a loading component, and let's check again. And we have our loading text, and now I'm going to return my code. It was just check, and inside weather component I'm going to copy this loading and provide error. Check if we have error, then we can provide error message. Error, and provide message from our error will be message error message. Okay, and let's check what we have now. I'm going to refresh and deny geolocation and reload. And we have other denied user location, but we can change text to red because we have error. Okay, we have red text, and Now I'm going to allow user location, reload, and we don't have any HTML or JSX for now, and let's implement the JSX for our success case. And I'm going to return and create some div, and it will be container, and let's create some class name and add gradient, background, gradient to, and to bottom, and it will be from blue, and from blue, and to indigo 600. Okay, and let's add some h2 tag and provide text your coordinates. And let's check what we have. Okay, we have our background and your coordinates. Okay, let me hide this panel, and we can change the font for our h2 tag. I'm going to use class name, add class name and text, and make it to XL, and make it font bold, and also make it gray, and some value. And let's add some margin bottom all. Okay, and let's check what we have. And we have bigger text, and we can add some shadows and basins margins from top, and I'm going to add it here. Let's make shadow, and also make some rounded div. Okay, and probably let's increase the text. Okay, and we need to add some paddings 6, and let's add margin top 10. Okay, we have our paddings, margins, and now we can provide coordinates. I'm going to add paragraph. Inside paragraph will be pen, and provide my latitude. And I'm going to use geodata from my useGeolocation hook, and we'll have latitude inside it. And the same paragraph I need from longitude, and use data, my geodata. Okay, and let's check what we have. And we have our coordinates, and I'm going to add styles to paragraph and make it text large, and add font, increase font, make font then bold, and probably make font text white 700. Okay, let's check. Now we don't have white font, and we need to add it here, text white. And let's check again. Okay, we have our white font, and I can read it from here. Okay, and here I can also make add class semi-bold. Let's check what I have. Okay, and here I can increase font size, add the same class name. Okay, it's looking good so far, and let's do the final testing. I'm going to refresh the page, and also we can check the CSS styles that we applied with Tailwind, and we can check the actual size or some probably colors. And I'm going to close it now, and let me deny my location and reload the page, and we see error, user denied geolocation. Now I'm going to enable it, close and reload, and we have coordinates. I'm going to use OpenWeatherMap.org, and I created account to get my API keys. You can check the site and check APIs. Also, you have some services. I'm using free plan. You can check what is available. And for free plan, we have 60 calls per minute and 1 million calls every month. And we have 3-hour forecast for 5 days. And I'm going to use current weather and 3-hour forecast. If you build an application, you will need to create your own API key. And also, I'm going to use documentation and make calls to current weather and 5-day, 3-hour forecast. And now I'm going to add functionality that fetches the data from an API and add some basic JSX and styles to show the data. Let's open our docs, TanStack Query, and I'm going to add this package, and I'm going to open my terminal, top dev server, install React Query, and also I need Axios to make API calls. And now I'm going to open up JSX and go to docs and copy this import because we need to create client. Now I can create query client and use it in my application. So I'm going to add it here. Yes, return adding JSX, and we need some query client provider. And also we need to close this tag. Okay, and let's start our dev server. pm run dev. Okay, and probably I have some error. Let's check the code. Okay, I need return here. Return JSX. Let's check. Okay, we have our coordinates, and we can build our application. And now I'm going to create new hook, custom hook, and we'll name it useFetchWeather JavaScript. Okay, and let's build our hook. And I'm going to port it. It will be a function and name useFetchWeather. Okay, and inside this hook, I'm going to use query. Use query for our package, and now I need some data. Use query will provide me the data, and I'm going to use object destructuring and get data and some error, and also loading is loading. And we need to define use query, and I'm going to just copy paste this code and provide query key will be weather, and query function we need to implement some function, and let's name it fetch weather and add by coordinate cards. And we need to provide our geodata. And I'm going to add parameter to my useFetchWeather and add here geodata. And I can add this data to query key, and also will pass it to my function FetchWeather by coordinates and add geodata. And now let's add our code for fetch of the function for FetchWeather by coordinates. And I'm going to create new folder. It will be services, and add new file API JavaScript, and we'll implement here our function that will make API calls. And I need to add export const FetchWeather by calls, and it will be async arrow function, and we'll pass here geodata, and we need to make API call to our API. And let's check if not geodata, and if it don't have latitude, or it doesn't have longitude, then we will just return. Okay, and if we have data, we can make API call to our API, and let's define API. I'm going to add const weather API, and let's check docs, and I'm going to use current weather data API docs, and we have this API weather, and we can define it as URL, and let's define URL for current weather and add URL, and I'm going to use my weather URL and add weather to it. Okay, and now we can import Axios. Import Axios. Axios. And now we can make axios.get, provide current weather URL, and now we need to pass params. And let's check what we need to provide to URL. We need latitude, longitude, and we need our app ID. And for app ID, I added to my env local file API key, and I created local file in order not to push my changes to Git and not share secret. And when I change the secret, it will not be pushed, and so I'll keep it privately. And here I'm going to create some variable to get my API key from this env, Vite env. And I'm going to use const API key and use import meta env and provide my name. Okay, and as params, we're going to provide app ID, and it will be my API key. Okay, and I need to add object here. And also I'm going to provide a lot, and we have in geodata latitude, and also we need Let's check out when it alone, and it will be geodata along Gitsuit. And also I'm going to add units to retrieve data in Celsius metric. But you can use Fahrenheit if you want. So, and now we can add a weight and save a response to some variable. And, let me do it, const response. And now I'm going to make console log response and return my response. Okay, we have our response, and we need to return this data from our useFetchWeather hook. And, let's do it. Return, and we'll return data error, and it's loading. And now we can go to our component. We have a weather component here, and I'm going to get data from my useFetchWeather. I'm going to make it const use data, and also error, and error I'm going to rename to API error, and is loading. So have is loading, and I'll rename it to API loading. And now we can use our fetch weather hook and provide our geodata to it. And we have geodata from our use geolocation hook. And let's add some code to it. I think I can remove this code from coordinates. Let's save and check what we have so far. I'm going to refresh the page and check network, and we don't have any request. Let's check use. Okay, I forgot to import this function. And let's save and check what we have so far. Okay, we have our request to weather API. I'm going to refresh, and we retrieved the data, and we can check what we have. We have coordinates inside, and also we have main, and as you can see, we have temp and temp max, temp min, and other values that described here. You can check the whole response example and the meaning of each value. And let's add some JSX to our code. I'm going to check if data, and add some value JSX. I need JSX, and I can add div, and also close this div, and provide some value. Let it be. We need probably some h2 tag, and provide current weather or, and get our name from the data, and okay, let's try data, and let's check what we have inside. We have name. Let's try name. Okay, and let's check. Okay, we have our value, and let's change the name and get this data from our response. Okay, we can change it here, and now I'm going to return. Let's return current weather and use response data. And now here we can extract this current weather from our data. And if we don't have data, let's try empty object. And now we can use our variable instead of this data and provide here current weather. And let's check. Okay, we have our text, and I'm going to add more JSX. Let's add some styles. Actually, we can remove this class names for this div. I'll just leave empty div. Also, we can remove this. And let's add styles to h2 tag. And it will have class name. Let that be bigger text. Excel. And also add font and bold. And add some margin from bottom too. And let's add some temperature. I'm going to use paragraph and provide this value. And I'm going to use mass round. So we get my value from current weather. And I need code here. So let's check what I have. We can also check console log. And we have data, and we have main, and we have temp. Okay, and, I'm going to use current weather. Main. Okay, let's check. And we have our temperature. Let's add some degree and also Celsius. And we can add some description. And let's check where we have description. And we have main. We have weather array, and we have description in the first item. And let's provide description. And I'm going to add code and provide current weather. Weather it's array, first element, and use description. And let's check. Okay, we have our Celsius and our description. Let me add some styles. Class name will be capitalized. Nice, and let's add some styles for our degrees. And let's add some bigger text to Excel and add font bold. Okay, and let me add some styles for our container, and I'm going to add some margin from bottom and make text. And let's check what we have so far. Okay, we have our degrees and our description. Okay, I can hide this terminal, and let's build search input and search button. I'm going to add JSX, and I'll use form tag, and inside form we'll have input. Okay, and let's add some input. We'll have type text, and also we can add placeholder and provide enter city name, and let's add some classes. Padding 2, add border, and let's make border gray, and add value, and make it rounded. Okay, and now we need to provide some value, and for that I need to add useState. And I'm going to use useState hook. Import was added, and initial value will be empty string. And now I'll add const and use state returns array of value and function. And I'll use name city, and the function will be set city. And now we can provide this value to our input. Value will be city, and we need some function to on change, and I'll implement function will take event and add city to value from my input, and this value will be inside event target value. Okay, and also we need to add button, and let's make it type submit, and I will add submit event handler, and let's add class name, and add marginal left margins 2, and add padding 2, and make background blue, and add 500, and make text white, and make it round. And we need to add text button search. Okay, I'm going to save and check. Okay, we have our enter city name input, and I can add some name, but it's not working now because we haven't added any functionality. And let's implement some event handler for form, on submit form, and on submit I'll use function and provide function handle search. And let's implement this function. And, it will be arrow function const. I'll take event and use event prevent default behavior to stop reloading the page. And we need one more state variable with hook use state with empty string, and this will be value for our query. And we'll set query after user pressed this search button. And I'm going to use search query name, and function will be set search query, and I need to assign it. Okay, and now we can check if we have city, and we can remove all spaces, and then we can set the value of the city to our query. Let's search query and use city and remove all the spaces. Okay, and let's make console log city equals to city, and let's check what we have. I'm going to refresh the page, open console log, and we got data from the server, and I'm going to provide city name, and we have it in our console. And let's add functionality to fetch data by city name. I'm going to open my services API and just copy this function fetch weather by coordinates and change it to fetch weather by city, and here I'll provide search query, and we can check if we don't have search query, then we can just return, and we need one more URL, and let's check documentation. And for city, I'm going to use this built-in geocoder. We can actually use geocoder API, make a call with city name, and retrieve coordinates, and then make call with our coordinates. But we have functionality that allows us to just use city name and get weather data, and I'm going to use it. So, and we need to provide query, and it will be the same, but we'll change the params, and so for now we don't need this probably. And let me change. It will be weather URL, and instead of coordinate, I'm going to provide my search query, and current weather will be the same. And we need to change our custom hook, and also here we'll expect the same search query. Okay, and we need to change query key to check if we had search query. If we have, then we'll use this query. Otherwise, we'll use geodata, and we need 4. Okay, and also we need to change query function. Also, I'm going to check if we have this search value. Then I'm going to fetch weather by city, fetch weather by city, and provide my search value. And otherwise, I'll use fetch weather by coordinates. And also, we need to add enabled and check if we have coordinates or search query. Then our use query will be enabled, and otherwise, we will not make any calls. And check geodata, and we have latitude, or we will have inside our geodata, we'll have longitude. And also we can check that we have search query and make it enabled. So, and if we don't have search query or coordinates, then let's not end. Okay, and then our use query hook will be disabled, and now we need to provide our search query to our use weather hook, and let's do it. And I'm going to change it, and let's check what I have so far. Okay, I will have error. Okay, and I need to move this use state above my useFetchWeather. Okay, and let's check what I have so far. And we have other error, some boolean, and let's check our useFetchWeather. Okay, I need to convert string to boolean, and let's check again. Okay, we have our data, we don't have errors. I'm going to open network and provide city name Berlin and search, and we have weather for Berlin, and we have a request to weather API with city Berlin, and let's check for London. Okay, and we have data for London. Let's add forecast. Okay, and I'm going to open my functions and change them. We need a second API call, and I'm going to use also axios.get, but we need a second URL for forecast, and let's check documentation. Okay, and for forecast, we have API, and we can check these docs, and we'll make request to forecast endpoint. And, okay, and I need to change current to forecast. Okay, and here I can define const params, and I'll use the same params as for current weather params. You can just use object. Okay, and now because we have two requests, we can send them in parallel, and I'm going to use Promise.all and provide array of requests, and I need to move await here, and I will wait response from two requests, and first request will be to weather, and the second will be to our forecast. I need to change URL here. Forecast. I have some error, and I need close. Okay, and now we'll have two responses, and let's name first current, and the second forecast. Okay, and now we can return current weather to current data, and forecast data. Forecast will be forecast data. Okay, and we can copy paste this to fetch weather by coordinates. So we can remove this console logs, and so I can copy this, and I need to provide params and create const and sign. So we can remove this and delete comma. Okay, and we have our forecast, and let's check if what we have. I'm going to open network and refresh the page, and as you can see, we have request for weather and for forecast, and we have some data, and we can check it what we have, and we have array of objects, and each object contains some data. And let's build JSX and add styles for forecast, and here we can add forecast and check, and I will add this JSX below current weather, and we'll check if we have forecast. Then we can provide some JSX. I need some container div, so close this div, and let's add some classes, and I'm going to make background blue and add 100, add some padding, and add rounded, and also add some shadow. Okay, and now we can add our h2 tag and change classes, and for classes I'm going to use text large and add font bold, and add margin 4, and I'll have just forecast. And now we can add list, unordered list, and add class name, and add space 4. And now we can get through our forecast. Let's use our forecast, and let's check what I have inside. Okay, we have a list. List is array, and we can use map, forecast, and a list. And I'm going to use 5 first elements, and I'll add slice and make map. And for each forecast item, and also index, I'm going to provide JSX. And inside JSX, we'll have some li tag, and I need to provide key to it, index, and add class name, and class name will be some padding, and background white, and rounded large, and add some shadow and middle. Okay, and inside li tag I can provide paragraph, and add some class name, and make text large and defined bold, bold, and let's add some data and check forecast. I need code forecast item, and let's check this item. And inside item, we have data text. And let's try it. Okay, let's check what we have. I'm going to refresh page. And for now, we don't have anything. And let's check. And I need to return JSX, not code. Okay, let's check again. Okay, we have our times, and we need to change to forecast. And let's add some degrees. I'm going to use this and provide some text like temp. Okay, and let's check where we have, and we have forecast item, and inside it we have, let's check forecast. Inside item we have main, and inside main we have temp. Okay, we have, and it should work. Let's check. Okay, we have our temperature, and actually we can remove this text, and let's add description, paragraph, and also paragraph, and add some text, and use the same value, I believe, but use forecast item and use the same value. Okay, let's check. And we have description. And let me provide city name and press search. Let's try to provide city that doesn't exist. Okay, and we have errors. And we can add search, and probably we can add some error messages to our code. And let's check what we have, and we can check if we have error, then we can provide JSX and add paragraph, and error means that we have error in geodata, and let's provide our geo error. It will have error and message inside it, and I'm going to copy and use our loading API. Let's check API error, and if we have our API error, then I'll provide API error message. Let's check again and try Berlin 1. And we see that query tries to retry, and we have our error. And let's check again. And one more thing, when I make a request with the same parameter, I always got the response, but we can use our cache or stale data with use query, and let's change it. And I'm going to change our use query function and add here some value and define stale time, and add it probably 1 hour will be enough. And also we can add cache time for 1 hour and provide the value. And let's check again. I'm going to remove all this and refresh my page and provide city name as Berlin and search. Now I can provide London and search. Now I can provide Berlin again. And we have the same data for Berlin as previously, but the request was not made. And let's provide Paris. And we have a request. And let's provide London. And now we don't have a request. Okay, and let me close this panel and refresh the page. And now I'm going to refactor my application and add more styles. And let's start with weather. And I'm going to go to my source files, and inside components, I'll create WeatherCard JSX, and it will be functional component, and I'm going to create some function weather card, and I'll return some JSX. For now, let's just take this code and paste it into our component. Okay, and let's add more JSX, and I'm going to add classes to my div container and make it flex. And also I'm going to use column direction. It will add flex col, and also I'll add items center to align items by center. Okay, and we have h2 tag, and I'm going to change to text size to LG large, and font will be bold. And let me remove this. And now I'm going to use current weather name, but we need to provide and add some props inside our weather card. Let it be data, and let me add this weather card component here instead of this. I'm going to add, and probably we need export, and now I can import it, weather card, and import was added here, and I need to provide data, and data will be current weather. Okay, and now we can use our data, and I'm going to use object destructoring and retrieve a name from data. And also we need main, and also weather. Okay, and I can remove this current weather. And let's check what we have so far. Okay, we have current weather, and let me change the city and check. Okay, we have city, and now we can just remove this current weather and just leave name, and we'll add country. And for country, let's check our data. I'm going to open developer tools and check my network. And let me change the city. Okay, and for weather, we have country in this. Okay, and I need to retrieve this data from weather data and use my country as country. Okay, let's check. And we have country here. And now let me add some data. I'm going to add h3 tag and use class name, and let me make this text small. And for current data, I need to implement some function that will get me the data, and for that in source files I'll create folder utils and create file index.js, and let's implement function. I'm going to export it, create const, and provide name, get formatted date, and we'll use current date, const current date, and we'll use new date to get timestamp of current date, and now I can return current date and to local string, and let's check what we have. We can specify locals and options, and I'll provide such option, and let's check what we have. I'm going to use my function here inside code, get formatted date, and let me import it. And as you can see, import was added, and let's check. And we have date, but I would like to change it, and let me change it. And I'm going to add options, const options, and specify format of our date. I'm going to use weekday, and it will be short. And also we need month to get short months, and also I'll use day, and it will be numeric, and also for hour I'll use 2-digit, and also I'm going to use minutes, and also 2-digit. And now we can provide our options. Let me change the name. And I need to add comma here. And let's check what we have. Okay, and we have our date in correct format. And let's build our card further. And let's build current weather div. And I'm going to let me add h3 tag and specify current weather. And also I'm going to add class name, and add margin top 2, margin bottom 4, and add font bold. Okay, and now we can create div with class name flags, and also flags items will be center, and also we'll just specify content by center, and add margin bottom 4. Okay, and that will be our container. And let me add image and provide source. And as source, I'm going to use this URL from docs. And I'm going to copy this URL and add it to my services. I will provide export const weather icon URL, and save. Okay, I need to remove space, and now I can use it weather icon URL, and as you can see, import was added, and as add, I'm going to use weather to have description inside it, and let's check what it has so far. Okay, and we don't have image for now, and that's because we need to extend our URL, and I'm going to add value of weather icon URL, and also I need another value of weather first item, and we will use icon, icon and make the icon to X and add extension. And also here we need first item. And let's check again. Okay, and we have our image or icon. And now I'm going to add some temperature. Okay, and I need span inside my div. And let's use. Okay, we have here temperature. Let's use it. And we have temperature. Oh, this I need to remove that. And let's add some styles. Class name and provide text for XL and make font bold. And also I'm going to add padding right 6. Okay, let's check. And we have our temperature. Let's add our weather description, some text about weather. And I'm going to use class name text right. Text right. And inside this div I will have some main. I'm going to add span and use weather first item and inside it main. And also I can add some fields like inside span and provide fields like and also add mass round. And let's check our data. We have weather inside main and we have fields like, and I'm going to use that. And inside main we have main extracted from our object and we have fields like, and let's check. Okay, we have clear and feels like, and we need to add styles to it. Let me remove this paragraph. And for that span I'm going to make it block to behave as block and not be in one line, and also provide font and bold. And also this feels like I also will make bold, will make block, and let's add text small. Okay, and let's check again. Okay, and we have our main and else like. Okay, and we can add some degrees. And I can copy paste, but I can add some sub tag and here close tag, and now I can copy paste it here. And let's check. Okay, we have our Celsius and here, and I can remove paste. Okay, and now we can provide additional weather details, and I'm going to add it here inside my container and provide div, and inside div I'll have another div, and here I'm going to add wind and make new line with this tag, and now I can use mass round, and we need wind, and let's check what data we have inside the wind, and we have speed, and let me add this. I'm going to use wind and also speed. Let's check, and we have wind and speed. And now let's add some styles here. And I'm going to make it flex and make justify between. in and make text small and make full width and mark width will be middle. Let's check again. Okay, I need to move it out of my current weather section and add it here. Let's check. Okay, we have a wind at the new line, and let me add more divs for weather details, and I'm going to add humidity, and for humidity, let's check data. We have main humidity, and I don't need mass round here. I'll use main and add percent. And also I can add pressure, and let's check data. We have main pressure. Okay, and I also don't need mass round. I'll use main pressure and MB. And let's check what we have so far. Okay, we have our additional data, and let's add some class names, text, and for each div. Okay, looks good so far, and now I'm going to create component for forecast, and I'm going to create new file inside my components, and it will be forecast.jsx, and it will be a functional component, and I'm going to use export function forecast, and I will need some forecast inside, and it will be a function, and I'm going to return some JSX, and let's check our weather component, and I'll copy this code and paste it here, and let me change here to forecast, and close tag, and I can provide forecast data, and it will be forecast. Okay, and as you can see, import was added, and for forecast, I'm going to make it change some styles. Let's check what we have, and we have the same forecast as previously, and let's change styles. I'm going to change this to make text large and make font bold, and add margin button too, and we'll leave this forecast, and also we need, and this unordered list I'll change to div, because I'm going to make it in one row instead of several rows, and let me do it, and I'm going to change to div and provide class name will be make it flex, and also I'll make flex row, and we'll add some gap between inner divs, and I need to close this div, and inside I'll use also divs inside or instead of items, and for each div I need key and provide index and class name. Let's change padding to 2 and add width 32, and remove this background, and we'll leave rounded, and let's leave shadow, and we can leave this paragraph, and probably remove this text, and now I need to provide the data, and I'll use similar function as for get formatted data, but I'm going to change format and build a return data based on provided timestamp. I need timestamp, and now I'm going to use data with my timestamp and multiply by 1000 and change the name to get short date, and it will be just date. So here, and I'm going to change options. I will not use here probably. Let's remove weekday. I'll leave only months, day, and hour, and we also don't need minutes. And inside forecast, I'm going to use my get short date and provide forecast item, and let's check our data, forecast data, and for each item we have this date timestamp. Okay, and let's check what I have, and we have some errors because I need to import it, and import was added. Let's check again. Okay, we have our data and some weather details, and let's change, and I'm going to remove this div and leave portal and provide more details. Let's add them below get short date, and I'm going to add some div, and inside div provide image, and I'm going to copy paste this image, okay, and paste it here, and I need to import this weather URL, and let's add object destructuring for our forecast item. It will be much simpler to work with it. I'm going to add return, and add const, and we need data time and also weather, and from our forecast item, and let's remove this forecast item and use, and also probably need main. Okay, and we can remove this forecast item, and let's check what we have so far. Okay, I can remove this, and we can make our icon smaller by removing this 2x. Let's check. Okay, we have smaller icon, and we need to justify it by center, and let me add some classes here. Class name, and we'll need flex, and justify by center, and let's add some margin bottom 1. Okay, and we have centered icon, and let's change this temperature. I will use probably paragraph, and class name will be, let's make it XL, and leave font bold, and mass round main temp, and well, let's degrees, and okay, and instead of weather I'm let's leave probably weather, but change description to main, and remove this weather word, and let me provide class name and make it semi-font, semi-bold, and let's check. Okay, we have our main, our degrees, and let's add wind details to our forecast. I'm going to add div, and inside div I'm going to use wind details, and let me find it, and you can provide it like here, and we probably need to destruct wind from weather forecast. Let's check. Okay, we have our wind. We can add meter per second, and also we can add font, class name, and probably let's leave it as it. Okay, we have our cards, and now we can add styles for our components for forecast and cards. And I'm going to change weather and add some divs, some containers for our weather card. I need div, and I'll close div here. Okay, and let me add class name, and I'm going to make background white, and add some shadow middle, and add some padding and make rounded large, and let's add margin bottom 4 and make it full width. Okay, and the same styles I'm going to apply here for forecast. Okay, let's check. Okay, and we have our cards and inside some containers, and let me add the same container here for search box. Okay, and we have our search box. We'll add container and let's check. Okay, and we can decrease padding to 2. Okay, and now I'm going to apply gradient to my body, and you can check my video where I described how to make it. And I'm going to use apply and provide background gradient, and I'm going to make it to bottom, and from color blue 300 to color blue 500, and let me add min h screen, and we can remove this task from body. Okay, let's check, and as you can see, we have our background and gradient was applied, and let me close this panel, check and provide city name. Okay, and we have our card, weather card, and also we have small cards for forecast. Currently, as you can see, my application is running locally on localhost, and I'm going to use a document in my GitHub account. I'll provide the link to it in the description. So, and now I'm going to open my project, and as you can see, I have run in terminal. So, and let me probably delete this. Before deploying, we need to think about our environment variables, and we're using services, and we have API key from env local file, and I'm going to copy this file and add file for production and paste, and rename to production and Vite will use this production file and will pass my API key to application. And also I'm going to change git ignore file and include also production in order to not push my file into GitHub code. And now I'm going to follow this instruction, and first step is create new repository, and I'll name it weather app React. Okay, it will be public, and I can press create repository, and we have comments, and I'll run them one by one, and open terminal, and we'll create a git folder with a git init command, and git add, and I'll add all my files that I have in a repository, and I'm going to push it. But first of all, I need to make git commit, and let me add comment weather app. Okay, and now we can create main branch and set remote. Okay, and now we can push our changes to Git. Okay, changes were pushed, and I can open my code. And as you can see, we have our files inside a Git repository. If you already have the repository, you can just go to the next step. And the next step is to configure Vite config.js file. And I need to add base and open Vite config and add base and provide my repository name. And we specified this name as weather app react. Okay. And the next step is install package GitHub Pages, and I'm going to use this package to deploy my application to GitHub Pages. And the next step is to add home page to my package.json. Let me do it. Home page, and I'm going to copy full URL from my browser and paste it here. Okay, and let's check what I have next. And we need to add scripts to our package.json, and I'll add them. Okay, and let's check what we have next. And now we can run our deploy command with npm run deploy. And it will create us production build inside this, and we'll push it to GitHub Pages in the separate branch. Okay, and now I can open my project and open actions, and as you can see, we have running build, and let's check settings. Okay, and inside settings we have pages, and now we are deploying from GitHub Pages branch. And let's check actions again, and it's almost ready, and we have deploy in progress. And let's check our code. We also can push this code. I'm going to add and provide git commit and add message, deploy scripts, and push. Git push. Okay, and let's check our action. And we have our URL. And now I'm going to launch my application in browser. And the app asks us about location, and I'm going to allow, and I have weather for my current location, and let me change city, and we have weather for the provided city, and now I'm going to refresh, and let me disable location, reset permissions, close, and reload, and not allowed. And we have error, user denied geolocation, and but would be good to show some city that user can provide, and we can change it. And I have error, and let's just remove this error. And also in app we have use query, but we are not using it. And now I can push these changes. First of all, let's deploy them. with command npm run deploy. Okay, and we need to wait, and let's check actions. And we have active action, and now let's push the changes. I'm going to add them and git commit message and like fix error message and push the changes. Git push. Okay, we pushed our changes, and we have our workflow running, and let's check. And the build is ready, and let me refresh the page. And okay, we have our input, and we can provide city. And we have this error, but we can provide city and search weather for some city. And now I'm going to refresh, and let me return geolocation and reload. And I have weather for my current location. And our application was successfully deployed, and currently is running on GitHub Pages and is available online. I can share the link to my application. I'll share it in a video description. And that's all that I had for today. If you like the video, subscribe to my Dev Web App channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.